In this video, we show you some of the best things that we ate, most beautiful churches we've seen, and most interesting things to do in the city of Puebla.
We are Georgia and David. We quit our jobs to travel full-time around Mexico with our 14-year-old Sheltie-Poo Meep. Our goal is to take a picture with her in front of 100 Pueblo signs. Today is our first full day in Puebla.
And we are super excited. Number one, we've heard that Puebla may have some of the best food in all of Mexico. And number two, this is where we have decided to spend our very first Mexican Independence Day.
Our first stop was, of course, to try one of Puebla's signature dishes.
Our first cemita. It is called that because of the bun. The bun has sesame seeds all over the top of it. And if you look here, you'll see that this one has been topped with a piece of ham. And then under that, there's a ton of quesita, which is a Oaxacan string cheese. It tastes very mild, kind of like mozzarella. And then underneath that, you can see there's some avocado. And then there is a fried piece of meat. I'm not sure if it's pork or chicken. There's another fried piece of meat. And then even more avocado. So let's dig in.
We continued exploring, passing a small artisanía market, before checking out our first church. The buildings and architecture and center are beautiful, but... so we're about a block outside of the main center area, and you see things change quite drastically. This is a park that's kind of close to our Airbnb, and you can see that the grass is kind of overgrown. The trees aren't really taken care of, and other little green spaces we've seen in Mexico, the trees are usually very groomed, like, shaped, and the grass would never be let to get this long.
We enjoyed the cemitas so much the other day that we are going to get cemitas again today. We have come to the Mercado de Sabores, or the Market of Flavors. In this market, there's just a bunch of different food stalls selling everything from sweets to sandwiches to drinks. So let's go inside and check it out. So I don't know if this cemita is going to be as good as the last one we have, but it is definitely much larger. As for my hand for reference, you can see that this thing is ginormous. And we got this one with chicken instead of pork. The last time the one we got had pork. So dig in.
Alright, so the Mercado de Sabores has way better cemitas than the last Mercado we went to. The bread was fresher. It actually had this herb on it. I forget what it's called, but it's a lot stronger than parsley. It's kind of a similar flavor, but a lot stronger. And it was just loaded with better ingredients, and it tasted a lot better. So now we're going to walk around the market and see what else there is to see. So we're back in our Airbnb, and one of the last things we did at the Mercado de Sabores was to stop at a sweet shop.
So a few things that we picked up. One was the tortitas de Santa Clara, and they're basically like a little cookie with a creamy frosting on top that is made with pepinos or pumpkin seeds. Salud.
Not too sweet. I think it would go really good with some coffee.
There's like a nice light nutty flavor. Really good. No complaints. Another thing is the camotes de Santa Clara, and a camote is literally a sweet potato. So these are basically flavored, sweetened sweet potatoes. So we got 3 different flavors of the camote. We have fresa, which is strawberry, naranja, which is orange, and limon, which is lemon. Or maybe lime, depending. So here is the limon.
Very light lemon flavor. Or lime flavor, whatever.
It really just tastes like sweet potato, like a very sweet potato.
That one tastes a little bit medicinal to me.
I like it. That was the strawberry fresa. Lastly, here's the naranja, or orange. If you're only gonna get one flavor of these camote, the orange is definitely the best one. Agreed?
For sure.
And lastly, we had one of these when we were in Zacatecas, and it is basically just a big disc of peanut brittle. Peanut brittle, can't go wrong. This one's less sweet and more toasty than the one that we had in Zacatecas. It's got like more peanuts and less sugar, and they caramelize the sugar more. That's really, really good. Overall, really liked the sweets here. Definitely, I think the 2 winners were the peanut brittle and the camote in the naranja flavor.
I'd agree.
All right, so the mission for the day here in Puebla is to find the trolley and tour it around Centro. This is the first really nice day we've had here in Puebla so far.
Yeah, I think we've been here for 4 or 5 days, and every day it's been a little overcast, a little bit cloudy, but it is heading towards the end of rainy season, so hopefully we'll have more beautiful, clear days like this to come. We are going to try our best not to bore you with a ton of churches, but the fact is that Puebla and its neighboring town of Cholula are said to have a church for every day of the year. That's right, 365 different churches.
So we made it onto the trolley, and it was 80 pesos each.
They said that they're going to leave in about 15 minutes, and today we have some sunscreen on, and we've got both of our cameras, so we are ready to roll.
So our tour stopped at the Mirador de los Fuertes.
It is a huge park. There's a teleferico on one side, there's a fort, there's some museums inside, and as you can see behind us, the view is pretty fantastic. There's also a second Puebla sign up here, so if the one downtown's a little too busy for you to snap the pic you want, you can come up here and you'll probably not have too much competition. So when you're in the main square, there's a few different little trolley tours you can choose from, and I'm not that thrilled with the one that we chose. We're stuck at the top here for like 20 minutes, and now the clouds are coming. It looks like it's gonna rain on us. So I'm a little disappointed with that. Generally, the tours just kind of drive for a straight 45 minutes all around the center. We went through like a kind of shady neighborhood. It is probably the worst trolley tour we've done so far. So I would not choose the Barrios Antiguos tour.
Our Our trolley tour ended in front of the cathedral. We had heard the inside was incredible, so we were excited to check it out. So we just finished up our trolley tour, and we are now getting something to eat at La Taqueria Oriental.
So this is supposed to be the birthplace of the Arabic taco, and basically tacos kind of started from the Middle East. They had those big trompos and they cut them onto thin pita bread, and then that idea was kind of brought over to Mexico, and then they changed it to corn tortillas. And especially with these Arabic tacos, they were originally lamb because Muslims don't eat pork, but Mexicans prefer pork and it's cheaper, so they've now changed it to a pork-based taco. So we're excited to try them. So we ordered 2 of the Arabic tacos with cheese and 2 without. So we each have 1 of each to try. We also got some Bohemia Obscura, so a nice dark beer, and a couple waters. So we just finished up the tacos, and they were super delicious. I loved them. The tortilla was kind of like between a flour tortilla and a pita bread, and then the meat had all these spices. It tasted kind of Christmassy. Super delicious. Highly recommend.
Today is another bright sunny day in Puebla. We woke up to nice blue skies this morning, amazingly.
Yeah, so we decided to make the most of it. We got out early, and of course we've already stopped by a church because we simply can't help ourselves. But the plan for today is some museums, maybe a couple more churches, and to definitely try some more local food.
We just finished up the Museo San Pedro de Arte.
And the coolest part of this museum, I thought, was there was a room dedicated to the soda of Puebla, which was the Oro brand, and they had some little spin-offs. There was orange and apple, and it was kind of cool because it was like a little mini kind of like Pepsi or Coke museum, so pretty cool.
Our next stop is for some churros at La Churriera.
It comes highly recommended, and it smells fantastic.
We just finished up here at La Churreria. The churros were probably the best we've had in Mexico so far, especially the one that was coated in cajeta, which is kind of like a caramel sauce.
So we are currently in the oldest library in the Americas, which is located inside the Casa de Cultura, which is right across from the main cathedral. It is really impressive. The woodwork is amazing, and the collection of books is really neat.
And it smells like old books in here.
Yeah, it's great.
The Casa de Cultura also houses other exhibits that display art and clothing from the state of Puebla. Next, we headed to the most elaborately decorated church we've ever seen.
We just finished up at Capillo Rosario. It was absolutely spectacular inside. There was just gold scroll work everywhere, big paintings, super impressive. That's one thing Puebla has definitely got the lock on, is gorgeous churches. Much prettier than the churches that we've seen thus far on our trip. I think Puebla's going to be hard to beat on the church scene. But we have now built up an appetite, so we're going to grab something to eat.
Good time.
So we are at Clementina Cocina, which serves traditional food from the Poblano region. Right in front of us is an order of chalupas, and if you have had Taco Bell chalupas, you'll know that these look extremely different. These are the originals, and here we have one that is topped with both red and green salsa. We have here pipián verde, which is a mole here from Puebla that is made with pumpkin seeds. We also have one topped with frijoles, one topped with poblano mole, and one with the pipián rojo. So we're gonna dig in. First off, I have to say that those chalupas were so delicious. The pipián verde was our favorite, and then the pipián rojo was our second favorite. And so lucky enough, we had both ordered the trio of enchiladas, which comes with mole poblano, pipián verde, and pipián rojo. So we are quite excited to dig into these.
All right, so the food was super delicious. The prices were very reasonable, and we really loved everything here. It was really great. We highly recommend it. So tonight we're at Mercado de Comida Típica.
It's very close to our Airbnb, and they have a bunch of different food vendors set up, and they have a lot of the traditional cuisine, the pipián, the mole, as well as chalupas and some other items. So we got some Bohemia Obscuras to start, and we're just waiting on our food. Well, we just finished up with our dinner, and it was excellent. That is one thing that we have loved so far about Puebla, is that the food at the cheaper establishments is just as good, if not better, than the food at the expensive establishments. We found that to be true in a lot of Asia, and here there's a lot of love in the food, even at the lower cost places. So hopefully this month comes in a bit cheaper with the restaurants. We'll find out.
Vamos a ver.
Next week, check out part 2 to see our full cost breakdown, Airbnb tour, and our top recommendations.